Hello, everybody. We are back again for the Real Deal podcast, and we're all very excited to be back. I am Tiara Spells, and I'm here with...
I'm Nate Richard.
And I'm Michael Smith.
And today we are going to bring you some topics that have picked up a lot of traction this week, I guess. Or maybe not even this week, this month, I don't know. But yeah, we're going to take it off with Nate.
So what I'm going to be talking about is like Oscar season. All of the film festivals are going on right now. TIFF is just wrapping up. You have Venice Film Festival that ended. You had Telluride like 2 weekends ago. And there's a lot of movies that are breaking big. So one of the first ones I want to talk about is Roma. This is Alfonso Cuarón's new movie. It's actually from Netflix.
Okay.
So this is probably, with the rave reviews this is getting, it's probably going to be Netflix's first movie to score a Best Picture nomination. And possibly even a win, because this movie looks like it has the makings of a Best Picture winner.
Right. What is it about?
It's basically a memoir of Alfonso Cuarón's like childhood in like the 70s. It's in Mexico. It's black and white too.
Oh, okay.
It's told through the eyes of this family's nanny. It's no big name actors either.
Okay.
Like not even like big stars from Mexico. It's just like all these unknown actors.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool that he did that.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And then another one that's going to be a big Best Picture player is A Star Is Born, which
yeah.
I'm personally excited for. That has Bradley Cooper in his directorial debut. He's also starring in it. And Lady Gaga is also in her first leading role in a
Yes,
movie.
Gaga. We stand.
I'm excited.
I'm excited for it too, but it comes out my birthday weekend, which also Venom comes out that weekend. And, you know, I'm a bigger Tom Hardy fan than I am Lady Gaga or Bradley Cooper. So I think I'm going to spend my birthday money on Venom and then go see A Star Is Born.
See, I'm dreading Venom.
Yeah, I know it's not going to be, like, objectively, it's not going to be good, but, like, I don't care. It's Tom Hardy.
I think Venom looks horrible.
Yeah, it does look
like the director, let alone it's Ruben Fleischer.
I don't
His
know who that
only other good movie
Exactly.
was Zombieland.
Oh, Zombieland was good.
Zombieland's a good movie, but he also did a movie called 30 Minutes or Less, which had Jesse Eisenberg, Danny McBride, Aziz Ansari, and Nick Swartzen. So you know that's quality, Nick Swartzen from like The Happy Madison. It's basically like a pizza delivery guy who's like has to rob a bank or he'll be blown up. It got horrible reviews. It has like a 17% in Rotten Tomatoes.
Say 17.
Something like that.
I'm dead.
And the other movie he did was Gangster Squad, which everybody was pumped up about because it had Josh Brolin, Ryan Gosling, Nick Nolte, Sean Penn. That movie was shit too. So.
Yeah. When's Sony gonna learn that they suck at doing anything in the Spider-Man universe? For real, they've had, out of the Spider-Man movies they've produced, Spider-Man 2, the original Spider-Man 2, is probably one of the better ones they've actually done.
I like
Yeah.
I
The
like
Amazing
that one.
Spider-Mans are trash.
I like the
Fight
first
me.
Amazing
It's
Spider-Man.
trash.
I did too.
I like the first one.
I did. I liked Andrew Garfield. I wish they would have given him more to work with.
Yeah.
The problem is Andrew Garfield isn't believable as Spider-Man.
I like him more as
even look at-
Spider-Man than I did as Peter Parker.
Well,
if that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's because you can't see his face.
Well,
he doesn't look like a Peter Parker is the problem.
No.
Yeah.
And
I guess he also was a little bit older.
So was Tobey Maguire.
I was about to say, to be fair.
Okay, but Tobey
To be
Maguire
fair,
was
the
also,
people
like,
in Amazing
30.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
actually looked younger than people in like when
The
you watch
Amazing
the original Spider-Mans, you're like, are you sure this isn't taking place in college?
Yeah,
Tobey
because
Maguire.
Tobey Maguire looks like he's about 35.
He looks like the
and he's
Steve
like,
Buscemi meme.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Exactly.
Yeah, he looks. He still looks the
Because
exact
Kirsten
same.
Dunst was like 17 when she filmed that, and he was like in his late 20s.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
he
I
was
don't
like
like that.
28 or so. He was nearly 30.
Yeah. So was Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
How do we get on superhero movies?
Because I was
Venom.
talking about A Star Is Born, which comes out the same day as Venom.
Venom. Okay. Let's go back to that stuff.
I know one movie you're excited for, because it has Timothée Chalamet of Call Me By Your Name, is Beautiful Boy, which also has Steve Carell. And this movie's more getting buzz on like the acting performances from Timothée Chalamet, who I think is a front runner for Best Supporting Actor. And basically the movie is based off of two memoirs, and it's about Steve Carell plays a father who's dealing with his son who's going through rehab for drug addiction. And this is a movie that I think there's like several rehab dramas going on right now, and then with this kind of generation going on, some of it, I just have like people that I know who had to go through rehab and everything. It's something that I think is going to be a very emotional film. It kind of reminds me of like Manchester by the Sea, where you're going to watch it, and from what I'm hearing, it's a movie you watch once and you don't really have a good time with.
Like Blue Valentine.
Exactly.
The movie's so sad for literally no reason. It's like just the most depressing Ryan Gosling movie on the planet. It's like, why am I having a bad time?
But the other movie I want to talk about is First Man. Damien Chazelle. I love La La Land. I don't know about you guys. I know that movie has its haters, but I love that movie. And that he's reteaming with Ryan Gosling, and Ryan Gosling is playing Neil Armstrong.
Okay.
And I'm personally super excited for this movie because there's a whole controversy with the flag too.
Yeah, that was
the one
so.
with the-
It's
that's the one
very
with the
silly.
controversy, right?
The American flag I hear is in it a ton.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm excited for this movie for the technical standpoints. Like, I think this is the one maybe Damien Chazelle should have won for over even La La Land.
I'm just every time I think about Damien Chazelle winning for La La Land, I'm like, just pretend he's winning for Whiplash. Just pretend
I do
he's
love
winning
Whiplash.
for Whiplash because Whiplash was better than La La Land. Not even a hot take. It might be like a lukewarm water take.
See, I love both.
Whiplash is better. La La Land was just like okay. It was
I love
like
both. I don't know why I love both of it, La La Land so much, but I just do.
I liked
but-
it more the second time that I saw it.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite Damien Chazelle movie.
But see, usually when you like it better the second watch, it's because there was something at the end that was important at the beginning, where storytelling can fall apart.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I
I love the
guess.
ending to the
Man.
movie though.
I guess.
And then another one is from La La Land's competitor, Barry Jenkins, and If Beale Street Could Talk, which I hear not as good as Moonlight, but still really, really good.
Yeah, I believe that. Nothing is as good as Moonlight.
Moonlight
Yeah, it's
was an
gonna-
awesome
it's gonna be
movie.
hard
The
to
movie,
top.
that movie's amazing. Oh my god.
Exactly.
It's
It's gonna
like
be very hard to top.
yeah.
Because I hear Regina King is in the movie, and she's getting a lot of buzz for Best Supporting Actress. Another movie I've been hearing about, which I do not care for because I do not like the director, Yorgos Lanthimos, who did The Lobster
I
and The
never saw
Killing
that.
of the Sacred Deer. You don't want to
Wasn't
know
The
these movies,
Lobster-
Michael.
Wasn't The Lobster with Colin Farrell or something like that?
Yes.
I don't know what it's about. I heard it was
It's a
weird,
guy who like goes to a hotel because he's single and he might be turned into a lobster. I haven't seen the movie. I've seen
What?
parts of Killing of a Sacred Deer, and that movie's trash.
I've never even heard of these movies.
I think Brandon probably loves those movies because
Wow.
they're his kind of movies.
You're just gonna trash Brandon.
No.
Not here to defend himself. Wow.
I'm just saying. Oh wait, no, Brandon
Correct.
doesn't like The Lobster. I take that back. I'm sorry, Brandon.
See?
But this movie's called The Favorite. It has Olivia Colman, Emma Stone, and Raquel Welch. It's like a comedy. It's like 18th century England. Olivia Colman is like a queen, and then Emma
Wasn't
Stone.
she in Thoroughbreds? Olivia Colman.
That's Olivia Cook. I like Olivia Cook.
I was close.
close.
It's fine.
Olivia Colman's like 50.
Oh. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't care for the movie personally. It just
Next
doesn't-
topic.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go.
I guess
Move
on that
Move
note, I guess on that note, since you've been talking about Netflix and Michael wants to talk about Netflix, we can just swing it on around to some more Netflix.
Okay, Netflix. So September's panning out to be a good month for Netflix releases. Just today, American Vandal Season 2 came out, BoJack Horseman Season 5. And something I'm going to talk about a little later is they released a Bleach movie. It's because we're going to talk about Warner
Is it
Brothers
live
later.
action?
Yes, it's a live action. It's
Is it
Warner
like-
Brothers Japan.
Is it like the Full Metal Alchemist one was? Like it's a Japanese made?
Yeah, they've tried Full Metal Alchemist 1,000 times though, and it's never worked.
I believe that.
But quick side note here: in 2 days, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is coming out. If you've never seen the movie, which camera am I on? That one. Watch it. If you've even had an inkling of liking Baby Driver, watch Scott Pilgrim.
It's better than Baby Driver.
It very much is. Watch. I actually haven't seen World's End, but I'll also plug Hot Fuzz. And Hot Fuzz is on Netflix. Shaun of the Dead is not. Shaun of the Dead is
Shaun
still
of the
great
Dead
movie.
is awesome.
I've never seen Shaun of the Dead.
I've seen all of his movies, but World's End, like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, World's End was the one of the Cornetto trilogy. I was just like,
Okay, so back to Netflix.
So Bleach.
So I remember watching the anime. I was into anime for a very short period of time. And I watched Bleach. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I don't know how I feel about it being live action.
Yeah, I don't know what the obsession is with live action anime movies because they're very popular animes and they work
Right.
as animes. So why are you going to try and take that and put it into live action? Most of those are like that because they have mystical aspects to them that
Right.
aren't easily recreated.
Right.
I'll say something, because most of the Netflix movie that was an actual like American film was Death Note. But all these other ones like Bleach and Full Metal Alchemist, they just got distribution rights for America from Warner Brothers Japan.
Yeah.
So I think, in Japan, apparently they have a whole bunch of like live action
Yeah,
anime
Japan
movies.
has a problem with making live action adaptations of their animes.
Does it make them more faithful to the source material?
I don't know because they try and they want to do their own take on
The
it.
Attack on Titan.
God.
The Attack
There
on
was an
Titan.
Attack
Oh
on
God,
Titan
the
live
Attack
action?
on
Yes.
Titan.
That's so weird.
It was like a
Oh, I
two-part movie.
forgot about
Anime
that.
is kinda weird in
I
general.
blocked that from
I
my
agree.
memory that they made a live action version of that. No, but so the way the Bleach movie is 2 hours long, so I started watching it and I haven't finished it because
Right.
the podcast was a thing that started. So I'm most of the way through it, and it's culminating up to what I'm assuming is going to be the final fight. It covers, from what I remember of the anime, the first arc of the anime.
Okay, because I remember the anime being very, very long.
Yes, it is a very long anime. This covers the first arc, which is the main character is Ichigo. When he's quick synopsis, from birth he's had the ability to see ghosts or souls that they're stuck wherever, and it got him into trouble. And this one, when he was really young, walking with his mother, he
Sarah,
saw
move to the right.
Sorry.
You interrupted me. I got,
I'm sorry, you're left.
This way?
I don't know what they're
I don't
trying
know
to
what's
do.
happening.
They just ran me off my tangent.
Okay, you were talking about
Just scooch a little to your left.
left. Okay.
Oh yeah, you were running off camera.
Oh. Got it. Okay.
So he sees this child over by the river, and he's walking with his mother, and then they actually do a great job with the opening, besides some of the fight scenes, which I'll talk about later. But the opening, and then you see him, the little girl turns around, and then it cuts to black. And then when we come back in, you see his mother laying on the ground, like over him, protecting him. And that's the beginning of like his child thing, and it sort of cuts into the story, and it becomes important later.
I'm
'cause
already confused.
you learn that the little girl spirit is actually what's called a hollow in the universe, which is
Okay.
like a soul that someone who died who held a grudge, so they go and consume other souls. It very much is basing itself off of the manga and anime, and when you don't have knowledge in that, it's kind of a lot.
Right.
And-
Does it not do a good job at setting up the lore?
It does a decent job because they don't throw it all at you immediately, and Ichigo's a protagonist that also doesn't understand it. But
Okay.
it also kind of falls into the same problem that most anime movies, animes, anything adapted from a manga has, which is manga's just a Japanese comic. So you get the image and you get words. So there's a lot of, besides like action scenes, there's a lot of exposition in the blurbs. So a lot of it is hard to come through dialogue, because in a manga you can have something the character's not saying to establish things,
Right.
but they don't like doing narrators because narrators are cop-outs. Hot
Yeah.
take, narrators are cop-outs. Stop using narrators.
I'm gonna agree just a little bit. Sometimes it works.
It can
Sometimes.
work, but most times you're using a narrator, you're trying to get exposition across.
Yeah,
that you can do it in a different way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it goes through that. And the fight scenes throughout got better as it went on. The very first one starts with a hollow shows up, and it's when you first realize, he realizes there are our version of Grim Reapers. They're called Soul Reapers, or as in Death Note, they're called Shinigami.
Okay, I need like a notebook to like write this down,
Exactly.
so I can like keep up with the
Yeah,
terminology.
it's a lot. It's not subbed in English, so it's not dubbed in English. I always do that.
Got it.
There's a bunch of languages. English is not one, so I just put it in Japanese because it started on Spanish and it was really weird. But so it's a subtitled thing, so if you don't like subtitles, oh well.
Subtitles are fine.
Yeah, but the fight, you're watching them fight this creature. The CGI is actually not bad for an anime movie. It's for an anime movie, it's good. For an actual analysis, it's decent. But the main problem it has is in the first fight, none of the characters have any weight to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're seeing a character fly across the screen, strike something, and land, and it just looks like the character is weightless the entire time.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, and usually that's a problem in anime when you're drawing it. You want things to have weight, but I've never actually seen that problem in a live-action movie.
That's very bizarre. I don't.
Yeah, this is why I don't watch anime or anime movies.
Because I don't understand. I don't follow.
It's just
the
a
only,
flim flop.
Yeah, they
zim-zabs.
pull too much of the story from it, and they're just as. It's a poor assumption, but it's a correct assumption that people who are going to watch it know the anime, and honestly, at this point, are just tuning in to go, so how bad is this going to be? Because when I saw it on the release list, I was like, how bad is this going to be? That's the main reason I started to watch it.
The only anime I've ever sat through like entirely was Elfen Lied, the one about the they have they're like these pink-haired girls, and they have like horns on their head, and they have like invisible hand tentacles, and it can tear people apart, and they're always like naked for some reason. It was kind of weird, but it was also kind of good. Maybe not if I look at it now, but when I first saw it, it was kind of good. But that was the only one I sat through. It was like 10 episodes, maybe, but like, I don't know. Anime was hard for me to get into.
I tried watching anime.
You gotta find the genre that you like, because there's. If you think of genres in movies and then double it, that's genres in anime.
Got it.
Like, there's endless amounts of genres. But so far for the Bleach thing, I can't say I'd recommend it. I'm gonna say if you want to see how it is for yourself and you know Bleach, then watch it. I would say it's okay as a movie. It's good as an anime movie, which isn't a high bar to hit, honestly, if we're talking about it. It's no Death Note. It's better than Death Note.
Okay, I was gonna ask you about that because I never saw it. I just heard it was bad. The movie, the Death Note movie.
Yeah, you could get me started on that, and this podcast would be about 3 hours. But
I didn't find Death Note to be that bad. I thought it was not a good movie in the slightest. But it still had some redeeming aspects to me. I like Adam Wingard as a director, and I thought he did an okay job behind camera.
the main problem I have with that is it makes more sense on the second viewing. There's information throughout the movie that's very important at the beginning that they just don't give you, and you get it at the end. Like, it seems like they had a different idea of what was happening and then changed. Because Death Note went through production hell. It had multiple times it was almost getting canceled, and it had a lot of problems. I'll give him it. He stuck to it. He had an idea that he wanted made. Do I think it should have been made? No, I don't. That's going to be my hot take. But
I mean, I don't think it's a hot take.
No, it's
Nobody
a
liked
very.
it.
Yeah, let me just grab that
Lukewarm.
take from the freezer. No, it's not even lukewarm. It's
Cold, freezing,
Yeah, it's
frozen.
Next
very
topic.
much.
Okay, so I guess speaking of movies in production hell, I guess that's the perfect segue because we are going to talk about DC and how they are just. It's almost like it's falling apart. Like, have you ever seen like a blanket or something sort of just like falling apart at the seams? Like it starts, like there's a hole in one end and like the stuff is kind of falling out,
Yeah.
and then you sew it up and then it tears in another place, and it's like, it's such a mess. It almost makes me feel bad. And I'm wearing my Batman shirt because I love comic books. I love Marvel. I love DC. I'm not one of those, oh, Marvel's better than DC or DC's better than Marvel. I like both. So I want to see both succeed in, you know, their film endeavors, I guess. And so, you know, if anybody hasn't caught up with the news recently, on what day was this?
This
Wednesday?
was
Thursday? Wednesday, at like first thing in the morning, 10 a.m., they're like, Henry Cavill is out as Superman. And I was like, what? Because I really like Henry Cavill and I really like him as Superman, and I wish I didn't love Man of Steel.
I really like Man
I
of
know
Steel a
some
lot.
people do really, really like Man of Steel and would like, they will die on that hill. I'm sort of in between, and
You're at the stage.
yeah,
Man of
I'm
Steel.
at the, it was okay. And then, you know, Batman versus Superman. It's more of a Batman film than a Superman. Like Superman
Yeah.
is like maybe like a quarter of the movie, and his name is in the title. Like I
they
don't
were
understand.
like, here, let's make a Batman film and Superman.
And we're gonna throw Superman
Let's get a
in there.
dash of
just
Superman.
Just a little sprinkle.
Little Superman.
But
And put like a sprinkle of Wonder Woman. Just
Yeah.
a little sprinkle.
Yeah, just
Put
a-
her just as much as Superman, actually.
Yes,
Just
exactly.
the same amount of Superman.
Not
you
in
put
the
Wonder
title,
Woman in
same
there.
amount of screen time.
Exactly. Makes no sense. And then Justice League, he was also dead in half of the movie.
Yes.
And then he comes back at the very end, and people are like, oh, that's the Superman I remember and know from like the comic books. And then the movie's over.
Mustache.
Oh yeah, that was also
Mustache.
Mustache.
a mess.
Mustache
Yeah, a lot of
Mustache
people said
the
that they
meme.
did if they didn't know about it previously, they didn't notice it. But I
can't
feel like
argue that.
I feel like that first scene is very noticeable. It's a little wonky, and his mouth looks kind of weird. Like you can kind of tell.
My parents rented Justice League like from Redbox one night,
Mm-hmm.
and I forget what I was doing. I think I might have been out at the movies or something. But they were like, "Oh, what is up with Superman's lip?"
Yeah, that was the main
And
thing.
I'm
It
like,
looks
I
so
don't-
bizarre. I don't know what it's like.
People either, I don't think there were people that didn't notice it. I think people were like, something's wrong there, but they just didn't have the knowledge to
be like-
oh, they tried to edit his face.
Yeah, and he's so pretty, and they just messed his face up so much. Like Henry didn't deserve that,
His lip reminds me of the people who like to Photoshop themselves with like single tone skin, where it's like the same color. Like his lip has
Ew,
no
what?
coloration to it.
Oh yeah, it's gross.
It's just like a single color and has no depth, and you're just like, oh,
It's super.
His lip.
It's super bizarre. Oh god, that was bad. But it was so weird. And then so they announced Henry Cavill is supposed to be out as Superman, and everybody's freaking out. People are like, oh, why haven't we had time to give him a movie that people really enjoy? Because people like him as Superman and want to give him a fair chance. But it seems like the writers don't want to.
Yeah.
And so people were like, oh, Henry Cavill, and like freaking out. And so his manager posts a statement, and she was like, be peaceful. The cape is still in the closet. WB will release a statement later.
which was the most vague.
WB releases the statement, and it's literally the equivalent of, yeah, we've met Henry Cavill before. That's all it was. And I was like, what does this mean?
Everyone was like, is he in? Is he out? What's his manager? Like, what's that statement mean? What's all this? And Warner was like, so we've met Henry Cavill before.
They were just
He's
like-
a person and an actor,
Who
and he has
we-
played Superman.
And we've worked with him
And
maybe
that's
a
it.
few times.
It was literally just, hey, we met Henry Cavill. We liked him. The end.
Yeah, and I was like, what does that mean? And so then
It gave no information at all.
And so then we get this random report that they're supposed to be looking at Michael B. Jordan to play Superman. And I saw a tweet that was like, I don't have anything against Michael B. Jordan, but I just want someone with a distinguished jawline to play Superman. And I was like, me too, I feel that. You know what, when they talk about recasting Superman or whatever, if they want to make him black, whatever, I don't care. But like I said, I agree with the distinguished jawline thing, but also you don't have to cast Michael B. Jordan in everything just because he's the only black actor y'all know. Like, there are other black actors that exist.
Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians. If they don't go with Henry Cavill, I know people get in an uproar because he's Asian.
Wait, is
but
he the main character?
He's the main character.
Oh my
he
God,
would be
his
so
jawline.
perfect.
It's so good.
It's
He would
amazing.
be amazing.
I Googled him when you mentioned him the other day, and I was like, okay.
I remember because I had to make the box office opening, and that was one of the things on it. And I was watching the trailer, and I was like, does he his face is
That's
jaw?
a pretty
Like,
man.
it's amazing.
Yeah. He's
Got that Asian complexion too.
He looks like Superman.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't
Yeah.
his name popping up?
Yeah.
WB just got a big hit on their hands with his movie Crazy Rich Asians.
Mm-hmm.
Michael B. Jordan was just in a superhero movie.
Yeah. And I feel like, and then I was thinking, if you do make Superman black, who would you actually choose? I thought about Trevante Rhodes, who was in Moonlight.
Mm-hmm.
And I like him. He's big, he has a jawline, he looks like a superhero. So I was like, maybe. But whatever, that's besides the point. Michael B. Jordan, what? And so then later, Henry Cavill posts a video on Instagram, and it is almost as vague as the WB statement. And it's literally just him looking very pretty, as he does, holding a Superman doll.
He's going pulling it up.
Yeah. And it's very vague and very weird. And he's like, today was fun. #Superman. And I was like, none of this makes any sense. And so I was sort of just watching the news coverage of it, I guess. And people were like, well, we sort of knew that WB hadn't had anything planned for Superman yet. Like, they were going to do Birds of Prey and the two separate Joker movies that don't make any sense. Why do we need more than one Joker
Why wouldn't you
movie
want a Jared
played
Leto
by-
Joker movie?
And also a Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie?
I'm actually excited about that.
Okay, me too, but people are going to be confused. Like, the
Yeah.
average viewer's going to be like, why are there two?
There's not enough, I mean, Joker has some complexity, but they don't want to do the complex ones. They want to do the easy Jokers.
Exactly.
And there's not enough variation between it besides
How he looks.
how he looks and being wacky.
Yeah, that's it.
Unless they're gonna go the route of the killing, the comic, the Killing Joke, and actually make something have stakes.
Right.
I think that's what they're gonna do
With the Joaquin Phoenix one?
Yeah, because
So who's gonna be Batman in that?
it's gonna be Thomas Wayne, and Alec Baldwin was originally going to be Thomas Wayne, and then 2 days after he was announced, he quit the movie. That was weird.
Yeah, and so, the news following that too, it seemed to be a lot of sources at Warner Brothers have said, and it's probably just some intern or something that was like, oh, we heard this. Let's tell my journalist friend that I know, and then they leak it. And then they have all this leaked information out there, and none of it might have just been ideas floating around.
Mm-hmm.
Or, this Henry Cavill thing might have just been negotiations just happening.
That's what I believe
So
it
do you
is.
think, because the way Warner Brother and unfortunately Henry Cavill have been dealing with this, they're milking it.
Oh yeah,
There's
it gives them more attention.
It gives them, they're giving so much free publicity for this that they're just like, let's make some vague statements. Oh, maybe he'll be Superman.
Then more people will talk
and
about
then they're
it.
like, oh, that'll get our name in the news, which I guess DC is going for the all press is good press idea of it, because
That's debatable.
they still seem to be ignoring the fact that all of their movies have, I mean, Wonder Woman less so, but most of their mainstay movies have major flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, what they're doing. They seem to not have any idea what they're doing. They don't have a lot of the things, the coverage that I've seen is like, one of their main problems is that they don't have like a Kevin Feige sort of person who has an idea, who has a plan, who has sort of a vision for everything to happen and sort of to make it happen and has the power to do that.
Yeah.
And who is also like a fan of the comics, because Kevin Feige has always talked about, he's like, oh, he's such a big fan or whatever. And if they had that, I feel from the very beginning, I feel like they could have done something. And also, Warner Brothers in general has been very reactionary to things.
Yeah,
Very.
Making because Man of Steel came out
And then they
had some good reception, some mixed reception.
they were like, we need to put in Batman.
And then Marvel came up and they're like, okay, we have this huge plan. Like, this is how we're going to do our universe. Had a plan laid out, had more or less like the backbones of this needs to happen in this movie going through.
Right.
And then it started getting traction, and DC was like, extended universe.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
That's the hot ticket.
DC had announced a slate the day before Marvel had their big Phase 3 thing, which I know the Marvel thing had been planned for like months on end. But most of the movies except one on the Marvel slate have happened. Barely any of those movies DC announced on their slate have even happened. They announced a Cyborg movie.
Yeah, and now all of those movies seem to be up in the air.
Exactly.
They've announced a lot of things, and then they've just sort of unannounced a lot of things.
The way things are trending, I feel like we're headed for them trying to do another reboot.
But which is so frustrating, because like they honestly, despite me not totally loving Man of Steel has a lot of
Wrap it
fans.
up.
Man of Steel has a lot of fans, and so does Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was huge, and so
Oh, yeah.
I feel like if they just stuck to like
Standalone
solo
movies.
movies
Standalone
instead of
movies.
trying to connect them, then it would be like, okay, maybe they can get some footing and sort of get it together.
Yeah, because, I mean, Marvel started with their solo movies.
Exactly.
You had Iron Man. Great standalone movie. Had little bits of setup in there.
Mm-hmm.
But they set it up in a way that if it fell through and they didn't get the traction, they could
would've
not
been
do
fine.
it. It would have just been like, oh,
Solo
there was
movie.
an Easter egg at the end of it,
Right.
whatever, for people who read the comics. But DC starts with
They
that. They're
very
like,
much-
okay, let's do a solo movie. Oh, this is getting traction. Let's change it into an extended universe.
Yeah.
If they would have just stuck to solo movies, I feel like they would have done a lot.
Okay,
better.
since we're ending on DC, what would you like to see from DC in the next few years?
Oh God,
Okay.
that's
I
a question.
want to see Man of Steel 2, directed by Matthew Vaughn. I think he would be a perfect choice. He's directed superhero movies before, and he's shown he's a huge fan of Superman. I think that would be perfect. Make it star Henry Cavill, give him what he wants. You have a good actor on your hand with Henry Cavill.
Or just
Make
make
Man of
him
Steel 2.
Man from Uncle 2. Like,
Or that.
you have him, either make Man of Steel 2 or Man from Uncle 2.
I love that movie.
Oh, it's such a good movie. I guess what I
It's
want
her
from
phone case for everyone who can't
Oh
see that.
yeah, it is my phone case. It's a great movie if anyone hasn't seen it. I guess what I want to see from DC is I guess for them to sort of figure out what they're doing. Like, I'm excited for Aquaman. I like James Wan. I love Jason Momoa and Amber Heard and stuff. So I don't think it's gonna be this perfect movie, but I am excited to see it, and I'm excited to see what they do because I love the Arthur Curry lore and his story and stuff like that. So. I just want to see them sort of get some footing, I
Yeah.
guess.
I want to see them stop doing what they're doing with Titans, the show. I want them to kill Teen Titans Go already. And I want them to actually make Teen Titans again. Like,
They're
base it
planning
off
to.
the comics. Don't make weird choices for costumes as the leaked set photos have
Speaking
been.
of Titans, change Starfire's wig. I was fine with the casting. The wig is horrible. Change the wig. That's it for me.
And the jacket.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Change the costuming. But yeah, I want to see a good, faithful Teen Titans because there's it's something they haven't touched since really the
first cartoon.
cartoon, the animation, the
Right.
cartoon from the beginning, which had some faulty steps at the beginning, but really took off and still something that I look back at it and I'm like, that was really good.
Right.
And there's so much more they didn't even cover in that. There's so much for Teen Titans that they can cover. And it has so many parallels to stuff, and it would be a great thing for them to actually try and cover.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. So I guess that's it from us. I'm Tiara Spells,
I'm Nate Richard.
I'm Michael Smith.
and we will see you all next week on the Real Deal Podcast. Have a great Friday, guys.
And stay tuned for Rob and Rob show.
Oh,
coming up
yeah.
next.
Rob and
Yeah.
Rob is next, so stay tuned for that.
Don't go anywhere.